So if you haven't heard of Agentic Search by now, you must be living in a commune. It's about to change everything in hospitality, and we're here to help clear the air, y'all, and talk about the most important things in Agentic Search. Is it the code or is it the creative? And I have Sarah Stahl, Brad Brewer, and my partner, Susan Tucker. Welcome to Agentic Search Showdown on the InnSync Show.
Thank you for having us. Hello, guys.
Man, I can't wait.
It's all nice and games right now until we get into it.
All right. Did you guys bring some bandages and turn? Yeah. We've got 911 on speed dial right now. Oh, we're going to let the fur fly.
Sounds good.
Let's get right after it. I'm going to serve this up to you first, Sarah. Agentic Search has become the new gatekeeper. What matters most, tech infrastructure or the creative identity feeding it?
Great question. And before I dive right into that, I think it's really important to set up, if Brad and I can set up a little bit what Agentic Search is really simply. I'm going to start by saying I hate seeing in my feed that SEO is dead, because that is absolutely not even close to being the case. And I'm going to start calling people out for that if I keep saying that.
Nice.
Agentic Search is the GrowNet version, right? So SEO has gone through puberty, it's getting married, it's about to start having some kids and like getting some structure and a real salary in the world now. And so because of AI technology that we have available to us, SEO is shifting in a whole new way. So to try to think about the idea of throwing SEO away to be able to be found in Agentic Search is a complete lie. And so that's why I say creative is very important, because you have to still have the storytelling of communicating with humans. So a robot knows how to pair that well to somebody who's searching, just like in traditional SEO.
Very well said. Brad, what do you got to say about that, man? Come on.
And that's one way to look at it from a creative perspective. From a code perspective, we're going to get great content in front of a user search. Quit throwing out all these new acronyms, GEO, AIO, EIO. Who cares? It's
EIO.
It's search. We're going to deliver great brand storytelling alongside essential data about selling your hotel room. And that's how you're going to win in search in the future. Let's quit calling it something different. It's search.
And what I love about the agentic side of it is developing the structure that Brad's talking about is what is it you're developing? What is it you're writing into code? What structure are you adding? It's a clear crystal story of who you're talking to and answering their questions. It's really that simple.
Yeah. And oh no, it's my turn. You step back.
Now, I'm gonna throw a little seasoning on that really quickly though, and underscore, I wear the creative hat here at Lure Agency. I could not agree with you more. And most of the chatter I see about Agentic Search is a lot of what Brad's talking about, and Michael Goodrich about the tech side of it. Still, hotels, for whatever reason, clear branding, bold strategies on the creative side is still an afterthought. You go to most hotel websites, they all say the same thing. They're all talking about the same features, amenities, thread counts. It's all flat, and it can't pair my personal preference to my choice. So Brad, I'm going to hand that off to you with that little rebuttal or underscore there.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the beginning of what Sarah started with, that let's turn search and AI into a human. It was a child when it started, it gathered information, and now it's a teenager, right? AI mode, AI overview, even ChatGPT is a teenager who likes to answer every question, whether it's right or wrong. In most cases, it's wrong today. It's still testing and learning, but it's grabbing information and it's surfacing words in front of customers today. And what's missing from creative side, what Sarah's not able to get out there in front of customers is a more compelling story of the hotel room. If I want to get a glamping tent that's nearby this lake that offers this fishing, Sarah is not creating compelling content to get out in front of those users in an AI surface. So that's why the code side of thing is way more important than what Sarah's offering.
Oh, boo to you, Brad. Boo to you. This is how two different things going on. hotels, you mentioned hotels and what they're doing and they've been doing. They haven't really changed their MO in 20 years, right? It's time for them to grow up and move out of their parents' basement and get their own job, I think. But the problem is they had checked out to the OTA. And they were like, the OTA will handle this for me. So that's one side of it. The second side of the website understanding is they're not talking to customers because they're so reliant on the OTA just to sell the room. But as OTAs continue to spike their fees, do they even know if they're breaking even? What they're like, do they even know what's going on there and how much more structure that they could find through direct bookings by being found in a different kind of a way?
Agreed. Susan, what do you got to say about that? You've been pretty quiet there sitting in your car seat. Jeez, come on.
I have to say, I think as the tech agency, I think you obviously need both. I don't think it's an either or. We need to make it right on the back end. We need to make it right on the front end. We need to make it both human and tech friendly. So that's all I have to say. I'm not controversial. Sorry.
A piece to that to follow up is who's reading your website as AI is changing. Who's reading your website? Well, there was a report that came out by Muckrock, I think it was last year, and it's what is AI reading? And it's 5% or less of the time AI is looking at your website.
But let's assume AI is accessing your website. What is it accessing? Oftentimes,
Exactly. So if you've got this small little window that it is pulling data and you're structured for an OTA, you're gone. You're done.
Yeah, I think what we need to look at in 2026 for all of hospitality and frankly, all of the web is that a single web page becomes both documentation and API. It becomes a presentation layer and a data layer. And that's what's changing today. There's a lot of noise about ChatGPT's new app ecosystem where you have to have an app SDK and load up a new app. Nobody wants to manage that, right? Everybody has a website today. You can turn your website into an API. You don't need anything new. And that's the beauty of AI technology is if you bring down into your own environment, clean your own house, fix your own house first. And if you do that, you can leverage generative AI, you can leverage storytelling, you can leverage Reels and TikTok on your own website. And that's what Agentic Hospitality is trying to bring into the marketplace is bring the best of ChatGPT and Gemini and Perplexity on Marriott.com or on Sage Hospitality or on any boutique website. It can live there today. Technology doesn't have to get better. Last month's models all do this same information. It can deliver that experience. That's why we love the tech side. The code side is going to bring that to everybody.
All right, I'm throwing a red flag. You threw out API. That's too much.
I was going to say, Brad, I'm going to type into my Brad ChatGPT bot and say,
that all
tell me
people integrated.
back on
It's not an application programming. I'm bringing all people together. That's what API is.
All right, Brad, I'm going to toss this in your court. Let's see you kick the beehive first, okay? Because tech folks like you, and I'm pointing my finger straight at you right now, claim without data, you don't even show up. Creative folks claim without emotion, no one cares. Who's delusional, by the way?
If I go to ChatGPT and I search for boutique hotel in Napa and one of Sarah's beautiful properties on the vineyard, and they give me 2 bottles of wine upon entry, great place. But if it doesn't match, if the data doesn't match my personal preferences, then her beautiful properties aren't going to appear. And that's code driven. That's a code answer. So that's why code has to be there before storytelling. If you don't have the foundation, you're never going to be distributed. So I asked Sarah, without the code, how do you put your pretty pictures out in front of the user?
Oh, there's a call out.
Yeah, and he's got a good point that I'll concede to because it's really difficult to do that without PR if you don't have the code. And I'll come at that from a different creative angle. This year or this summer, I gave free 10 audits away to properties around the country. And some of the properties that replied back were some of the most incredible properties in the marketplace. And out of 10 of them, I could only 1 popped up in ChatGPT search organically. And so why is that? That's because they don't have the structure. Were their sites beautiful? Yes. Were they mobile optimized? Yes. Had they been around a little while? Yes. Did they tell a good story? Half of them told a good story. So they had all those creatives, they had active social accounts, they had influencer marketing collaborations going on, they had all of those things. But the reason why I said PR is so important, if you don't have the code, the one that popped up had PR coverage time and time and time again over the last 5 years. So really, that's what kept them alive in the search when their code failed.
There we go. I'll add a little bit more to the creative side as well, arguing the creative from Lars. I'll leave the tech duties
to Brad
and Susan.
Excuse Brad. I'm not as techy as Brad.
What I found out
after you go.
What I found really interesting, and when I did my Cory the 5-minute meeting planner, when I sourced venues and I described what type of hotel I was looking for, the vibe, the attendees, even though I described it, the technical aspects of the event I was trying to create, it used the personal memory from ChatGPT. It knew that I'm from SoCal. It was learning my personal preference, and it definitively gave me the Raleigh Hotel in Denver because of these things, Cory.
Right.
And that would have not happened if the Raleigh Hotel had not had a strong, bold brand to match my personal preferences with. For me, that was an aha moment, and that's not a technical aspect. So Susan, if you wanted to add to that, I'm sorry if I stepped on your toes there.
No, you didn't step on my toes. But one of the things I keep thinking about, because we keep hearing the chatter on the socials, is that 5-10 years from now, your website's not even going to matter theoretically, and it's going to be YouTube or LinkedIn pages. I don't know that this is going to be true, but how does a brand prepare now for how things are shifting forward, technically and creatively?
Yeah, I think as an industry, we can't let that happen, first of all. We can't, it's not even dictated by us in travel. The web is 700 trillion pages. They're just not going away. It fundamentally can't go away. It's a finite amount of info that can be consumed by machines. It's not that big anymore for companies like AI and Perplexity to go scan that many pages. What I think is changing is what Cory said. Every prompt is personalized. It knows who Cory and Susan and Sarah are. So when I go say, give me a hotel in Boulder, I'm going to get a different property that knows my personal preferences. So you have to think, we've got these new channels emerging, right? And hotels need to fish where people are, right? To capture the guests. What is shifting is how are hotels bringing those users back into their own marketplace? The transaction's still going to happen on brand.com, on a vanity website. And I don't see any hotel brand managing their own hotel room today and trying to bring that transaction back in place. If they let what Susan just alluded to, if they let the other channels become the surface, you're going to get instant checkout. I can stay in ChatGPT, I can book, I can give them my loyalty and never leave ChatGPT, but that's not great for the industry. It's not great for the customer. And Microsoft tried it. They became a monopoly. Google tried it. They've been trying to be broken up. OpenAI is trying the same thing. A single surface isn't going to prevail. It won't win in the end.
Yeah.
Two things sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Two things I hear from that, Susan, is one, complete and utter fear. Like, we can hardly make sense of what's going on right now. We're doing the best to make sense day to day what's happening. So 5-10 years from now, I don't even think that we have any idea, one, how quickly technology will change things, and two, like, we're not even going to get into this conversation, but then there's Web3. There's a whole infrastructure changing behind even how Web2 was not meant to stay in this iteration for the amount of years that it's currently in. So now we're all comfortable. And as humans, right, that's where the creative storytelling side comes in. As humans, we don't like to be uncomfortable. We don't want anything to change. We want it to stay the same. And what happens when things start to change is we start to get really fearful and we start to make up all these things about what could happen. And so it's really a balance of staying in today, in the now, and understanding the customer now, and looking at markers at how things are shifting and preparing for the future. So I actually don't like to prepare for the future. Everything I do is I listen to the customer. I listen to what is happening in culture. I look at reporting of how consumer behavior is shifting, and that's how I actually prepare for the future. So I'm actually working now for a couple of years ahead based off of what consumers are doing, because what we know of history is things don't change in a day. it takes 5-10 years for people because they resist change and feeling uncomfortable. So I actually don't like buying into the fear. And that's what makes, to Brad's point, and I think Cory even said this about how everyone's, what do I do? And what do I grab onto? There's all these things being said. That's how we end up relying on big tech, is because we're like, I don't know. We've got big tech telling us this is coming, and is it coming? And I don't know what to do. It's like, your customer's right here now, though. They're here now, and we've got solutions that we can help put in place now. And then we're building behind the scenes constantly for the future. And that's how we go confidently forward.
All right. Perfect. All right. So if a property has terrible creative, but brilliant tech, can they still win? How about the opposite, Brad?
If I have great tech and the company did not hire Sarah for great storytelling and creative, I would win.
Oh,
That's an easy one. That's a no-brainer.
shots fired.
So I can explain why with one simple.
I feel a challenge coming on.
Oh, whoa.
Now I'm serious. Like, I feel like this needs to be put to the ground, to test, to kind like, I feel like that.
I will build a blank website with data, and I will capture more traffic and bookings than your most beautiful webpage ever.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I agree to that to a point, but we're talking creative, not creative. So I feel like if there's some content behind that, that could change. But I'm very curious.
The stat I've got.
What kind
Go
of
ahead.
guest would book your blank website, by the way? That's my question.
Great.
Any Gen Z traveler that's looking for an experience, because my data surfaces one-of-a-kind properties and unknown destinations, and Gen Z wants unique experiences, and they're willing to pay the baby boomer inheritance that they took and captured from their grandparents. They're
But
going to
you
go
just
spend
said
all
they're
that money.
looking for you just said they were looking for a unique experience, but you're not giving that on your website. It's
Oh no, it's in my data. I have data feeds with several companies that are experience City Seeker. I have Viator. I have tickets, whatever.
You're talking about Gen X? Are you talking about Gen X?
I'm talking
Yeah.
about my.
Oh, yes, it does matter
Talking about
because
your mama.
they will spend a week without sleeping, reading reviews to make sure they can trust where they're going to stay.
There we go.
They're not. They're agent on my blank website.
Oh,
If they summarize it because they
When
don't know
I
how to
beat
read.
in this challenge, Brad, it's going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait to see this. So this showdown's transitioned into actual working shootout, a showdown to a shootout. So this is going to be great. You guys are going to have to come back and spill
What
the
if
tea
we
on that.
call ourselves at the beginning of this? Am I allowed to say it on the show or no?
Now, Brad just he shots fired. So back in your court, Sarah.
This
We
is
have
what you're talking about. I think this is what big tech is doing right now. They're just trying to gobble everything up, and we're seeing it. You keep seeing posts online or on LinkedIn or something about now. Everybody is aware that when you go on to ChatGPT or say anything about travel, you get little booking.com that pops up. And it's really frustrating to me because small businesses run 90% of this country, right? We are all small business owners, right? And we're just that's not even a 0.25% of the amount of people working hard to keep their businesses alive through a transition they didn't ask for. And so now you've got big tech who they've got all the money, right? And they're coming in and we can't compete on money. We just can't do it. And that's why it's so important to work together and not look at each other as competitors or anything like that, and to be able to understand who has strengths and weaknesses. Technically, Brad and I could be seen as competitors in a format, right? Like we could be considered parallel competitors, at least to some semblance. And I don't look at it like that because there's things Brad can do, I cannot do. And I can't go up against big tech by myself and what they're doing in search. And in 2026, Susan, you talked about what does the future look like in 5 to 10 years? Google has told us in 2026, search is going to be completely different. And we keep seeing little bits and pieces in their updates all year. And so I'm concerned about the regular business owners, property owners who are trying to make a living. They're employing people. They're keeping this country running. And we're all like, I don't know what to do. So we'll just rely on big tech and the OTAs to handle it for us. They're not looking out for your business.
Yeah.
They just want a booking, not necessarily your booking. Any booking.
No, and the idea that there's so many of us, especially on LinkedIn, that are like sounding this bell, and you can say whatever you want about all the different things that people say, but at the end of the day, we're all people who care about each other to some capacity and don't want to see these businesses fail. And so I think that's why Brad and I have made such a strong connection, because we're both pissed about what big tech is doing. And this isn't the first time they've done it. This model keeps repeating itself and repeating itself. They just keep getting stronger every time they re-enter the marketplace. And it's frustrating.
We have to look
It's supposed to be a showdown, not a love. Okay.
Well, we can't beat each other up the whole time, and we have to walk away friends.
Sorry, Brad, go ahead. Did you want to add something there?
I was going to say, we just need to look back at what Facebook did in 2006 and 2008. We all put a like button in the hopes they're going to bring something new to us. They're going to reinvent travel with tracking everybody the same. I'm going to put my high school classmates together back in my circle. And that just didn't work. What we did is we all built up a great profile that became an ad platform that's now $700 billion. And we're doing the very same thing. And they're telling us it's not 700 anymore. It's $1.4 trillion company. We're going to build up the world's largest company, and we're going to give them our data. And that's just not right. You don't have to. Hoteliers, small bed. I started in the industry in the early 2000s with bedandbreakfast.com. I learned about small innkeepers. I learned about running from a journal and from a tape chart of 5-room bed and breakfast. And those innkeepers are the ones we need to look out for, and the technology can help save them. We just need to put it on their website. We don't need another channel. We need to leverage their own website. And that's why it's not that we believe, we know the website is going to be both documentation and API. And we need to bring all companies together under that endpoint to serve. I keep using tech words. I'm on the code side. I apologize.
No worries.
But we need to bring everybody together. It's a website. Everybody has a website. They've invested in their website, or we hope they have. If they haven't, you got to find those partners that tell your story on your website and make it available and discoverable in places, some of your guests aren't, right? You do need to capture new customers, and that's what you use those for, gap fillers. They're not a solution to replace your infrastructure.
Beautiful. All right, guys. So heading into 2026, if somebody was to walk up to each of you, Sarah, I'm going to ask you the first question. By the way, Susan, you better start thinking, because I'm coming to you too.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So Sarah, your best piece of advice for somebody that walks up to you, and I'm going to put you on the creative side. You want to add a code in there as well? Have at it. But give us your best piece of advice for 2026.
First and foremost, stop being scared of everything coming at you, and really just take it one piece at a time. And if I were to start with one piece, I would start with the basics of infrastructure. There are so many people that we've talked about, types of businesses we've talked about in this call, that don't even have basic SEO down. And that actually, you have to now build off of that. So if even that's not right. And so while you're doing that, you need to have really good schema markup. You need to have the ability, which in simple terms, that is ChatGPT able to read your site to be able to pair you with the search. So it's the link, if you will, between what's going on your website and what's happening in Agentic Search, but that's just happening on like the ChatGPTs of the world, if you will. So really just go back to basics and put your head down and listen to your customer as you're building. That's really the best advice that I could possibly give you. And Brad, I've got some advice for you. You need me.
Oh, wait. No, this is really a love fest. This is all right. I'm going to have to change the title of this show, by the way. This is fine. All good. Brad, all right, man. I walk up to you at a HSMAI mixer that I had on Tuesday. I said, Brad, what's your best piece of advice from Agentic Hospitality for 2026?
Yeah, we still believe your website is where you focus on in 2026. Your website becomes natural language search ready. So you can now talk to it. I can approach your website and speak with it just like your front desk or your concierge. That's what becomes different. And I think that data-driven personalization can make the creative content that someone like Sarah and Market Movers creates, that is what is going to make the engagement and conversion rates boost, and you're going to drive more conversion. You have to keep improving your website, because that's where 80% of your traffic is coming from. It's not 90% for most small innkeepers. Yes, ChatGPT will be a thing. Gemini and AI search will become a thing in 3 to 5 years, but majority of your revenue is still coming from places that you can go in, enhance with data, enhance with someone like Sarah's creative storytelling, imagery, reels, TikToks. You can improve your own placement through the simple things. You don't need to latch on to everything the industry's throwing at you. And Sarah was right. It's fear mongering. They're trying to scare you into needing them, and you don't need them. You need to focus on your own website, focus on your own house, get generative AI in your own website first. That's how you beat them. You teach your customer how to come and have a conversation with your homepage. Get them back to your homepage. That's what we do.
We do a high five.
There you go. All right. Nice. Very well done. All right.
Yeah.
Susan Tucker, what do you got for 2026?
My advice is kind of Sarah and Brad said here is create content that doesn't just say things, but does things. Your helpful advisor, so to speak. You're creating content that's answering those frequently asked questions, that's solving the objections, the roadblocks, all the things that we like to do with our clients. Is we're crafting content that's not just like beautiful place to stay in San Diego, but it's like, what am I going to do when I'm in San Diego, and how does this all work together to make an experience for the user? So I think that both agentic and humans will like that kind of content.
Beautiful. I'm going to end this segment by saying, I think every hotel needs to follow the EAT format, EEAT, and that transitions to leisure to the group side. If you go to most hotels right now, and I won't name any names here in San Diego, they're lifeless. There's no people on them. There's nice guest rooms, nice restaurants. There's crickets. Where's the team? Where's the hospitality? Where's the warmth? AI is literally telling us, you need to be more human. Technology's saying that. And if we start by adding more of the team videos, more video testimonials, especially on the group side, properties have a huge opportunity when they've got a great group on property. It went really well. They share it. That is an incredible signal. Social proof in the form of video testimonials. That's a low-hanging fruit across the board. On YouTube, that can be repurposed. Those are actually the part of the high fives that we start with our properties. That includes what Susan had mentioned, deep FAQ, video testimonials, short form. Most hotels play really hard to get to do business with them. You go to the group and event side, you're met with a long RFP form, no way to just simply ask a question. So yeah, Brad, I get back to exactly said, look, if you were to go to your website, just like it was physically in person, walk through the front doors of the homepage, walk up to the front desk, why can't you mirror that same experience virtually as you do on person? And literally one hotel that I still get back to, the Parker Palm Springs, still does that pretty well. But we got to get back to bringing the humanity back into hotel
100%.
AI loves that. And I think that feeds both the creativity side and the tech side. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the video testimonials is low-hanging fruit nobody's capturing yet. I think a solution that I just experienced, I was booking a trip in London. I rented a Tesla, an EV car, and I didn't know if the hotel had EV hookup. So I did an AI search, and it said the hotel doesn't contain that information on its site. Did it check the box for schema.org and for structured markup? Yeah. They said parking, true or false? False. It wasn't on site. But it didn't answer the deep FAQ that a company like Lure would build. The deep FAQ would say that 62 steps outside the front door, there is an EV spot. The EV spot costs $10 an hour. You're only allowed to sit in that spot for 4 hours. That's a deep FAQ that you can get from a video testimonial. You can place it on an FAQ page that can be consumed for viewers everywhere. And that's what's missing. Everybody's saying, yes, I'm doing it. And you're not.
I love that clarity. Yeah, that's really good clarity on the point.
By the way, I was going to say, it sounds like a daunting task to run deep FAQs on all of your pages. It's actually not. In fact, Susan Tucker has written a GPT that does it on the group side. it hasn't been any easier to do it that way. In fact, I want to ask you off camera about schema markup because that has come up. So Sarah, I'm sorry, did you want to add something before we?
Oh no, I was just like, I like the clarity on understanding what a deep FAQ is, right? Because we hear a lot about FAQs right now. And the first thing that comes to most businesses' minds, I have an FAQ page, right? And Brad going into that a little bit deeper in like the explanation of his travel experience, I promise you don't have an FAQ page like that.
Big time.
Right.
Yeah, and Google's creating those pages. If you go to your knowledge panel, your listing, Google now has an FAQ about you at the bottom of the Google, whatever they call it these days, business profile, I believe. But if you scroll down there, it's answering all the even tougher questions than the hotel wants to ask themselves and their team. So if you're going to invest time in an FAQ, it can't be surface level questions. It has to be deep questions, knowledge-based questions that employees that have been there 10, 15 years, you've got to pull that out and put that in an FAQ. That's the value that AI wants right now.
Man, absolutely. In fact, we get an eye roll sometimes when they say, you should even have a question, what is attrition? Because a lot of planners have no idea what that term means. Like, well, why would we answer that? So I could not agree with you guys more on that. Hey, we could sit here and talk all day. You guys, this has been far much more civil than I was hoping for. So
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
yeah, well, hey,
That's okay. I'll be the later on our challenge. It's all good.
there we go.
Mentality. We're all from the South.
Blood the heart.
This is great. Nice. All right. Hey guys, I appreciate you guys spending a few minutes with me and Susan on InnSync Show. Hopefully you'll join us again. Back, maybe round 2 was we can show the results in real time.
All right.
I'm gonna ask those results. Did you guys get? That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks so much for having us.